تحية طيبة لكم جميعا مشاهدي ايتاك عبر قناة الحرة. نحن معكم للأسبوع الثالث والأخير من هنا من لاس فيغاس، متابعة للتغطية الخاصة والحصرية بايتاك لمعرض NAB 2011، المعرض المتخصص بالتقنيات الإعلامية المرئية والمسموعة. مجموعة جديدة من اللقاءات والتقارير بانتظاركم. قبل أن نبدأ كالعادة نتواصل دائما عبر بريدنا الإلكتروني itak@alhurra.com. يمكن مشاهدة هذه الحلقة وحلقات ايتاك في أي وقت على صفحة الخاصة لقناة الحرة على موقع يوتيوب، والعنوان هو youtube.com/الحرة. آخر أخبار التقنيات والبرنامج تابعوها دائما من خلال فيسبوك وتويتر على ايتاك شو. قبل الدخول إلى قاعات المعرض، ماذا سنشاهد معنا اليوم في ايتاك للأسبوع الأخير من NAB 2011؟ دخول سيسكو لعالم خدمات التلفزيون، أحدث تقنيات الصوت الرقمية، النقل المباشر من أي مكان بسهولة كبيرة، جديد تقنيات غرف التحكم، توليف المواد الإنتاجية على الإنترنت. بوقت اللي سيسكو ظهرت من عالم التصوير بالكاميرات الصغيرة وأوقفت فليب كلياً، دخلت عالم جديد فيديوسكيب اكسبيرينس، عالم التلفزيون للمزودين، نتعرف عليها ب NAB 2011.
So what we're showcasing here is the consumer experience of our Videoscape solution. And this is only the consumer experience, but it's really important to understand that this is an end-to-end solution which starts all the way from the cloud, where the content is aggregated, prepared onto the network, where it has to be distributed to the different devices over different managed and unmanaged networks to all these endpoints. This is what we call our 10-foot UI. As you can see here on the screen, we have a queue of different content that you've chosen to see. We also have different APIs to Facebook and Twitter, which basically aggregate what your friends have recommended to you on Facebook, cross that with content that we have available, the service provider has available in the back end, and has it available here. As you can see here in my library, what you're basically accessing is your own digital locker in the cloud. So you see all the content you've either purchased, uploaded, subscribed to, available to you in one access point. And as you can see, my library here on the TV, we also have the same thing available on the different devices. So you're basically accessing the same content from all the different devices. Things aren't stored locally, they're all stored in the cloud. And it's not only movies, it could be also music, games, ebooks, which would make more sense obviously on a tablet. Music you might want to hear on your mobile phone. But once you've watched a movie or heard of a movie that you want to recommend, you can go to that movie here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm basically going to recommend this content and add it to my Facebook recommendations. So again, this is me turning around and recommending content back up. And as you can see here in my iPad, I basically have content that was recommended to me available. I'm able to discover content here on the iPad. You can see that I'm navigating here. This would be my movies, TV shows. You can go up and down. And obviously this is a lot better navigation experience than what you can do with a simple remote control. Different chapters, special features, all aggregated, again, for the different devices once you found the content itself. I found the content, I started streaming, I want everybody to be able to see it on my big screen TV at home. So I just need to press here, and the Videoscape conductor, what's happening here, basically synchronizes. The iPad is talking to the cloud, and the cloud comes back to the setup box and tells him, stream this content now from this point, obviously in the HD format that's relevant to the TV. We have here an Android client as an example, and a PC client with, again, access to the same content, each one with their own relevant formats being streamed to them across devices and cross formats. The best way to get you to go to CISCO.com and just click on the Videoscape link that's there.
دولبي بNAB 2011 بلاس فيغاس أعلنت من بعد تقنية 5.1 تقنية 7.1. كيف بده يكون الصوت ب 7.1 عليكم تكتشفوا، لكن سنتعرف معا على دولبي ميديا Emulator توليف الصوت بتقنية 7.1.
Here on the screen we've got Dolby Media Emulator. So this is a new tool that we've created and designed for working with 7.1 or 5.1 in an audio workstation. Of course, when you create a 7.1 or a 5.1 mix, it's great to have that wonderful surround sound. But what we've got to be aware is that a lot of people are going to listen on a stereo TV set or through a set-top box, and they won't be listening to the surround sound. So a Dolby Media emulator allows us to quickly emulate what that set-top box or that TV would sound like. One of the things that's very much close to my heart is it will allow us to measure loudness values. And what this means is that by measuring loudness in products like this that are tied into our audio workstation, we can ensure that the content that we're playing back, be a movie or whatever, is actually going to match the commercials and all the other content that goes out. So if we measure the commercial on here and it says -24 as the value, and then measure the movie and that says -24, then we know when we play from one to the next, the users won't be reaching for their volume controls. Here we have the option of selecting our down mixers. So if I just wanted to listen to a mono version, then I can click mono and it'll take all that content, the 7.1 and the 5.1, and create the mono as if it was coming out of a mono TV. But this is the bit we were just talking about, the ability to measure the loudness levels. And so as we play through some content, we see the meter here will adjust to our loudness level and it'll tell us what that value is. And if we wished, we could actually set a target level and the meter would turn red if we were a couple of dB outside of that, and we can set that tolerance as well. And for those who are really wanting to know about the loudness of their content, the previous tool would give us one value that measured the whole material. But here we get a lot more depth, and we can actually graph the content and see the loudness differences as the content progresses. So we can see that actually we're not going excessively loud or excessively quiet in different parts of the material. This will give us all that detail. And here in particular we can see a dialogue range. So that's the loudness range between the loudest parts and the quietest. And so it really gives us that detail to say, how is my content going to be perceived? So these tools, the emulator and media meter for post-production, and they can plug into a Pro Tools system, or they're available as VST plugins as well. But we have a whole suite of tools, and we're showing other products here, be it hardware, software, file-based or real-time. If you've got a 5.1 stream coming in, but you've got one of the later home theater receivers which support 7.1, then we have the ability to select PL2X. And what PL2X would do is that would emulate a 7.1 environment that would be created in the home. So the home receiver would receive 5.1 and it'd create those extra surrounds. So if you put the investment in the home to buy that 7.1 system, when you're receiving just 5.1, it can create those channels for you. You should go to www.dolby.com and all our information is up there.
LiveU طريقة سهلة جدا للبث المباشر من أي مكان. LiveU Portable Uplink مثل ما شايفين مع كاميرا، وهيك بنطلع لايف. تواجدت ب NAB 2011 بلاس فيغاس لنتعرف على LiveU.
LiveU offers this backpack solution here. We essentially bond multiple 3G and 4G connections to transmit very high quality video. And the way that it works is you plug in a camera to our backpack device. It can be SDI, Firewire, and a number of other video inputs. The unit takes the video, encodes it, and then transmits via 7 or more wireless connections at the same time. So we work with different cell phone carriers. The data is then sent over the wireless carriers, and that can be either 3G or 4G LTE and WiMAX. So you don't just use one connection, use multiple, and that gives you very high quality video uplink, as well as the resiliency of being able to go live even if some carriers don't have great signal in certain spots. The unit weighs approximately 14 pounds by itself. It has its own internal battery, so we have the internal battery fits in here. You can even have a little button that will show you, give you a light and show you the battery status even when the unit is off. The internal battery lasts for about 2 hours, and then you can even use other types of batteries, and you can hot swap batteries all day long. So you've had transmissions in different places that actually went 24/7. It's either SD-SDI or HD-SDI. We have Firewire input. You also have Ethernet ports, so if you would like to supplement the wireless connectivity with Ethernet, you can also plug those in. You can even plug in 2 BGAN devices, which are mini satellite dishes, and bond 2 of them using our unit with the Ethernet port. You have USB, so with USB, one, you can add additional external modems to the 7 that we already have by default, and also you can transfer files. So if you have another storage device like a a thumb drive or an external hard drive, you can actually import a file and FTP it back to the server. So you can see all the different carriers inside the unit. You can see the signal strength, the bandwidth that each one is getting, and so on. And once again, we take all of that bandwidth together and aggregate and then stream very high quality up to 1080i HD, which can then either be aired on live television or streamed live on the web and so on. What you see on the monitor is basically what's going on in the background behind us down on the hallway. So this is a real live demonstration of the LiveU solution. We've deployed several hundreds of them worldwide. We're available in 60 countries, so across the US, Europe, South America, Asia, Africa. These units were in use during the World Cup in South Africa, Super Bowl, Grammy Awards, and just day to day for news stations around the country and the world for live traffic reports on the move for moving vehicles, for breaking news. We had these units in Egypt during the protests recently. We've had them in Japan during the tsunami and so on. So they're in use daily by hundreds of customers worldwide. We'll go to www.liveu.tv. That's the word live and then the letter U.tv like television.
مشاهدي ايتك عبر قناة الحرة نتابع الأسبوع الثالث والأخير من التغطية الخاصة ل NAB 2011 بلاس فيغاس، وسنشاهد معا بعد الفاصل جديد تقنيات غرف التحكم، توليف المواد الإنتاجية على الإنترنت. تتابعون ايتك عبر الحرة والحرة.com ويوتيوب.com/الحرة، وآخر أخبار التقنيات والبرنامج من خلال فيسبوك وتويتر على ايتك شو. تتابعون ايتك عبر الحرة والحرة.com ويوتيوب.com/الحرة، وآخر أخبار التقنيات والبرنامج من خلال فيسبوك وتويتر على ايتك شو. نعود إليكم بعد هذا الفاصل مشاهدي ايتك عبر قناة الحرة لمتابعة الجزء الثاني والأخير من التغطية الخاصة والحصرية بايتك للأسبوع الثالث والأخير ل NAB 2011، وسنشاهد معا الآن جديد تقنيات غرف التحكم، توليف المواد الإنتاجية على الإنترنت. ضمن جولتنا ب NAB 2011 بلاس فيغاس التقينا بفيديو كاست، عرفونا على ويب بيس بلاتفورم.
At NAB, we're showcasing a dramatic step forward in H.264 encoding, scalable video coding, coupled with our video router, which is a remarkable tool for optimizing bandwidth, providing live production tools, and letting broadcasters in news do many things that have never been possible before. First of all, the encoders and decoders have HDSDI in and out when they're hardware, and they have camera robotic options, and you have software encoders which allow you to send a link to an individual contributor. Let's say there is a newsmaker you want on air. You simply go to the contribution screen, add a contributor, fill in a very simple form that is an email, send that link, and at the receiving side, the guest that you want on air has an interface that looks like this. The contribution manager of VidyoCast allows you to centrally control all of the technical parameters of the signal coming in. They can see the video at the feeds desk, so they know what bit rate to select. You also have the ability to record something at the edge. You set the native resolution, you go to the record tab, and now in conditions where the network is not holding up the top quality video, you interview somebody, you're getting the best quality link that you can live, but you're also getting a high resolution copy. The interview is finished, You just click upload and you've got that file straight into your editing platform. Here you control all of the technical parameters of the operation. You control what feeds you're sending back to the person that's contributing, and they see it on their screen. If you, for example, have cameras in the bureaus, cameras at locations of routine news conferences, you can control them from our screen with simple presets. And in cases where you have an existing robotics controller, the camera can be in another city and another state, but you can control it centrally. And some of the new things that we announced here at NAB include our video IP monitor wall. Now, think of a multi-viewer that is in the IP world and accessible at any desktop or laptop, either in a facility or when a reporter or producer is on the go. The control is entirely web-based, and it's designed for easy operation. People in bureaus or individual reporters at home or on the road can jump in, orchestrate a story, get multiple individuals on screen. The decoder is sitting at the central production site, going into the video server or into the editing environment, or going on air live. VidyoCast.com has a set of resources.
هذا موقع افيد بي ان اي بي 2011 بلاس فيغاس. افيد السنه اعلنت عن انتربلاي سنتر، ويب بيس بورتال لافيد للورك فلو، صار فيكم تشتغلوا افيد اونلاين من خلال البراوزر او من الهاند هيلد بلاك بيري او ايفون. نتعرف كيف.
At this demonstration booth, we're showcasing our new web-based client, Interplay Central Client. So it's a web-based application, gives us access to our asset management system called Interplay and iNews, our newsroom system. All I have open here is our Chrome web browser. So I log in with one username into our Interplay Central Client. So I type in my username password. I can be anywhere out where I have internet access. So I'm remote from the station or production house, out in the field, and immediately I've opened up my Interplay database and my iNews database back at the central station. So you can see here, if you're on the screen, I have Interplay and I have iNews, and I have tabs with both of those down here as well. So the nice thing about this is I can customize this interface almost any way I want as a user and move these panes or these panels around. So as I move this over, I can access Interplay or access my scripts in iNews. So here's my rundown that's based in iNews, and if I open up my iNews client, you're going to see it has a very similar look and feel. So we'll go back to our Interplay Central client, and if I navigate through these stories, you can see I have access, can look at the story rundown, can actually see the story itself down here of what text and information has been written. So I can navigate and find a piece of video by navigating through my folders, or also show you in a second where I can actually do a search. So once I find where there's some Interplay video, I just double click on that asset and it loads that video into my asset viewer. So I can scroll through this video or actually just play this video and let it stream. So what we're looking at here in our video player is HD footage that's being streamed off our ISIS storage system, but I'm out in the field with internet access. It is doing a low resolution proxy conversion on the fly so I can actually stream that over the internet based on my internet access and speed. Here you can see I have 3 audio tracks involved. In Interplay Central Client, you can actually use up to 5 audio tracks in a video sequence or in a timeline. So if I click here, I can just back up, play this. As this plays through, you're going to notice that depending upon where I'm at in the story, my voice control meters are going to change. The other part of Interplay Central is Interplay Central Mobile, which currently runs on the BlackBerry platform. So you can see here I have my help, my update queue. It's the same queue or properties that I'm seeing in my live iNews client. So if I open up my assignments, I'm a reporter out in the field. My assignment manager just called me and said, I have a new story for you to go to. It's a new story about the AVID headquarters in Burlington. So I have access to all the data that they've put into the iNews system back at the station, including links. So what is a BlackBerry? It's a web browser. So I can click on a web link, open that up, and it's going to take me to Google Maps. So out in the field, my assignment managers help me to know where to go. So there's my Google Maps. Of course, what is a BlackBerry but an email device? So there's an email I could generate directly out of a link. And there's also a phone number. Now, if I go to that story here in iNews, you're going to see the phone number is not a link like these other two. It's just a phone number. But of course, BlackBerry recognizes that. So I can just click on that and make a phone call directly out of the assignment area. But I also have access to the stories. So I can jump right very quickly back to the main directory, go down to the show area, and very quickly open a rundown to see the stories that everybody else is working on back at the station. Now I can open up an existing story, see everything in that story, including production cues. If I want to edit that story, I just click on edit, and now I'm the one that can begin making changes and making modifications to that story. And the beauty about this is I can be connected to my iNews system, or if I'm out where I don't have connectivity, I can actually work locally on my BlackBerry with no connection to the database. Let's go to avid.com and look under products menu.
في الأسبوع الثالث والأخير من التغطية الخاصة والحصرية بايتك لمعرض NAB 2011 بلاس فيغاس، شاهدنا معا اليوم دخول سيسكو لعالم خدمات التلفزيون، أحدث تقنيات الصوت الرقمية، النقل المباشر من أي مكان بسهولة كبيرة، جديد تقنيات غرف التحكم، توليف المواد الإنتاجية على الإنترنت. إلى هنا مشاهدي ايتك عبر قناة الحرة نأتي إلى ختام الأسبوع الثالث والأخير من التغطية الخاصة والحصرية بايتك لمعرض NAB 2011، المعرض المتخصص بالتقنيات الإعلامية من هنا من لاس فيغاس. الأسبوع المقبل نلتقي بكم من مكان آخر في العالم. إلى ذلك الحين تواصل دائما عبر بريدنا الإلكتروني iTech@alhurra.com. يمكن مشاهدة هذه الحلقة وحلقات أخرى من ايتك في أي وقت على صفحتي الخاصة لقناة الحرة على موقع يوتيوب، والعنوان هو youtube.com/الحرة. آخر أخبار التقنيات والبرنامج تابعوها دائما من خلال فيسبوك وتويتر على ايتك شو. أنا توفيق جبران، شكرا لكم جميعا وإلى اللقاء.